This is going to be a very short tutorial on creating an external CSS style sheet from Dreamweaver using a website that's got an internal style sheet, which is the default when you create a Dreamweaver website. Using that, I'm going to create an external style sheet from the internal styles. To start with, I'm going to copy my existing website, so I'm going to take a copy of it, the whole thing. So I'll copy the root from the root folder and take a copy. So I've got something as a backup, and now this is my new version, and I'm going to call this something sensible. This is based on the 20.3 assignment, so I'm just going to call it Computer Crazy 20.3, give it a sensible name. So I've now got a complete copy of my existing website. I'm going to open that up in Dreamweaver, so I need to tell Dreamweaver that I've got a new website. I'm just going to give it a sensible name for Dreamweaver. This would be 20.3, and then I have to tell Dreamweaver where the root folder is for the new site, which is here. Select, save, done, and on the right hand side I've got my new site. Let's click on it. So currently this uses internal style sheets. This is my existing one. I've just taken a copy of it. If I look at the code, I can see at the top that there's loads of CSS styles all in the HTML page. I'm on the index page at the moment. Now I want to make those, move those from being internal to an external style sheet, because I want one single style sheet for all my pages in this website. Fortunately, Dreamweaver has a way of doing this so it's a bit quicker. What you do is you click on CSS styles, use the window button and open CSS styles if you can't see them. These are all the styles here, they're internal. I'm going to highlight all of them. If I hold down, I clicked on the bottom there and I held down Control and Shift. Whoops, let's get it back. And I hold down Control and Shift and hit that. I've got all of them highlighted. Right click my mouse, move CSS rules. In other words, move the rules from internal to an external style sheet. I'm going to create a new style sheet, so I click here, I press OK, give it a sensible name, so Computer Crazy, external styles, and I save it. So now all my styles have been moved from internal. We can have a look here. I'll go to my code, and we can see that there's a link at the top. So all my styles, my CSS styles, have been moved out the HTML page, and then they're linked into this external style sheet I've created. That's good. Let's go back. Now I've got to make some changes. So the changes are that this page needs to be widened to 1000 pixels, and I need to adjust the sidebar to make so that it fits in with that page as well. At the top, if I click on external style sheets, I could do this in Notepad, or I'm going to do it directly from Dreamweaver, and I'll click on the code. I'm now editing the external style sheet, and I know there's one particular one. Don't worry about all these styles, these are created by Dreamweaver. I don't know what half of them do anyway, but if I click on one called container, this is the overall page width this one's set, so I'm going to change that to 1000 from the original one. If I click back to design, now you can see the page is widened. One of the problems I've got is that my banner needs to be widened to fit out with the new page, and my footer as well, but they're just images so I can drag them. You probably won't have this in yours. I've got this little bar, so I'm just going to make that there as well. Page is looking okay. I'm not going to worry about the menus, because later on in the exercise we need to delete those and replace them. But the sidebar is a bit thin for the size of page, so I'm going to change that. I change it again in the external style sheet. So let's go to code, and I look for one called sidebar, or as Dreamweaver calls it, sidebar 1. The width for that is 200 pixels. I'm going to make it 250. Which, if I click back design, it's widened that. The main content looks alright, but if I start putting text in that, you can see that it's actually going to overlap and come over the sidebar. So what I need to do is increase the right margin for the main content. Simple again. Let's go into the source code for the external style sheet, look for the main content, and you'll see there's a style for the right margin. Just make it larger. At the moment it's 250, which is exactly the size of my sidebar, so I'm going to give it a bit of space. I'm going to give it 280. That means the sidebar is 250 pixels, so it's leaving space for that. It's giving an extra 30 pixels of blank space. So there's a gap between the main content and the sidebar. Let's save all this since it's not saved. Go back design, and there's my page. It's all ready to roll. So I've done it for one page. What I now want to do is do the rest of the pages in my website. In other words, I want to make all the pages linked to an external style sheet. Let's click back onto my files. Let's do one as an example. I've got a games page. I double click. Remember, this has still got the internal CSS styles, and it's also basically got the wrong sizes because it's not linked to the external style sheet. So let's go to the styles for this. Let's get rid of all the internal ones for this one. So I'm just going to delete them. It's going to make a bit of a mess. Makes a mess of the page because I haven't got any styling this page now. But what I can do, if I go down the bottom here, I can actually put in an external style sheet. You see this little chain anchor down the bottom right? If I click on it, so I've clicked down here, and now I've got this over here, and I'm going to link this to the new style sheet I created. I've got to find it. It's in this folder. I go down, there it is, double click, press OK, and now everything's corrected. In other words, the page layout, the width's gone right. Still need to correct that, just like as I did before. So the banner and the footer, just stretch that across. Sidebar's the right size, everything else is. Oh, I could complete this. The final one. So now I've done it for the games page and the index page. If I save all, you do it for all of your pages. But in my example, index and games are now controlled by an external style sheet, which I can access and edit directly from Dreamweaver or Notepad. That's basically it.